Creative Assembly have a history now of going back to their old games and messing with them. The first one I would say is Rome Remastered, which was when they effectively price hiked a 2 decade old game almost. That was in 2020. And then in June of 2021, they went back to Shogun 2 and removed the chat from it, and they've also since removed the chats from a few other games, like I think Napoleon or Empire. So they're going back and removing the chat feature, which is really important for the multiplayer. And in a game like Shogun 2 and Fall of the Samurai, the chat is really important because the multiplayer in those games are the best in all of Total War to this day. So they're really messing with this stuff. And I made a video about this. CA's first step to disassembling Shogun 2. And I went through this and explained how bad this was. I also drew attention to how they let the servers for Shogun 2 die. They just let Shogun 2's multiplayer stop working. And I should add, it stayed down for months. It was only after loads of petitioning and even people phoning up the Sega headquarters and complaining that they reinstated it and the multiplayer was working again. It took months. So they're really just consistently, whenever they change anything, it's for the worse. And now we've got another game update in May. You might have heard about this, 24th of May. We released a game update for Shogun 2 which includes compiler upgrade. This is an upgrade to the performance for modern CPUs and their threads. Yep, so to fix game crashing when running on CPUs with more than 32 logical processors. Alongside this, as the current chat systems in our game are both antiquated and limited in the modern online era, it is necessary for us to remove those services from Total War Shogun 2 and our other legacy titles. They're only announcing this here now when they did it 2 years ago. This is really strange as well. We are, however, continuing to investigate ways to implement and support chat in our future projects. Future projects, not reintroduce it to old ones properly, and we'll keep you updated on any future changes or developments. Thanks for your understanding. Although this was, I wouldn't even call this a good thing, because it's probably a really weak historical battle in Shogun 2, and they didn't even update it to bring it forward, because it had a lot of weird quirks from when Shogun 2 was early in development, and they were making demos. I think that's what this was, a demo DLC, am I right? It was either a demo or a day one DLC thing, incentive. Nonetheless, it had some weird things that didn't work right. It was a kind of strange historical battle. I suppose it's good that they made it playable, but they could have at least touched it up, which is something they just never do. Anyway, that aside, back to the patch. This has caused a shit show because it broke the mod manager, and this is what I'm getting into now. The mod manager for Shogun 2 currently does not work. Please restore the mod manager, 1st of June. It's 24th of May. People complain about the chat. I'm really surprised that they updated this pretty old game. I never expected it. Fix the multiplayer ranked instead of that. It's always funny when they go back and tweak with old games. They always just skirt over anything that people actually want. There's all these demands that people have had for years to fix things, and they can never do it. I remember I went to a live stream on Twitch, on the Total War official Twitch channel, and I think this would have been in 2019 when I started playing Total War again, playing real-time tactics games again, and I asked in the chat, because they were answering questions in the chat, and I said to them, can you just go back and fix the Hattori Kisho Ninja so they actually have the right stats? Because remember, they're like an inferior version of regular Kisho Ninja, when the whole point in the Hattori is that their ninjas are superior. So I asked them, guys, can you go back and fix this? Just because it's such a easy fix and a lot of people want it fixed, and all you have to do surely is just tweak a couple of numbers here and there and you fixed it. Like the easiest fix imaginable. And the guy actually saw my comment and he said, the people here at CA now, I'm just paraphrasing out of memory, the people that are at CA don't have that skill set. They don't know how to go into all the databases and go through the code and change this stuff. Like, they've all moved on, the skills have been lost, so we can't do that. So that was, to my knowledge, this is the best acknowledgement CA have got of this problem, and it was a guy on a stream just saying we can't do it, and that was in 2019. So they couldn't do that in 2019, but they can do all this in 2021 and 2023. Wow. And yet, you see it already, 24th of May, page 2 on this. Mods stopped working after the update, what should I do? Mods aren't working. CA just ruined another historical Total War game. People asking for a UI slider for those resolutions above 1080p, another thing that they need. Can't play mods on Steam. You removed the mod manager, someone there as well. Holy shit, you removed the mod manager. This update just fuck up the mod manager, good job CA. People are just raging at this. That was on the day that this went up, on the 24th of May. I was thinking about covering this, but I thought I would just wait, and I think this is the time now to talk about this, because they've done even more. The mod selecting screen has been lost. I cannot select mods easily from now on. Without chatting and dirty talking to the enemy, the Avatar Conquest is totally boring. Yeah, exactly, it's another thing. They've just crippled the multiplayer. It's still just inferior to how it was like 3 years ago. It's worse now. Mod selector window doesn't appear anymore before launching the game. Yep, so a lot of people complaining about what they did, and of course you have a mini review bomb in here where a lot of negative reviews, comparatively, relatively, were dumped on this. Remove mod manager after 12 years, the thing that kept this game alive, and yet this bears repeating. Mods are what keep these old games replayable. People that are passionate about the games, the most passionate ones that stick around the longest and want to get more out of the game, they make the game better. They make, for example, the Hattori Kisho Ninja fix that you have to download yourself and just trust is in line with the balance of the game and the original vision of the game. You have to just trust modders and their work, because CA can't do it themselves, which is what they were paid to do. It's up to modders to do it. CA has been recently removing features out of this now 10-year-old masterpiece, likely to drive players to their new historical IP. I won't be paying any more money to a company that fuck over their old fans, as seen by Napoleon multiplayer removal and now this. Devs updated the game to remove the mod manager and chat functions. They got rid of modding. Keep your update. People are not happy with this. Where are people praising this, saying, wow, my mouse is now so much smoother and cleaner, I'm now getting 100 FPS in battles with a lot of units. Thanks for finally letting me utilise my really advanced CPU that's 10 years ahead of the game. I'm not seeing that. What I'm seeing though is people complaining about crashes as well. That's recent. A lot of people complain about crashes recently. One way to register our collective displeasure. Disappear mods. How did I disable mods? Last update broke it. Darth mod not starting 22 hours ago. That's all in the past 24 hours. And then it's just game crashing. Why my mods don't work. And this goes back a month. CA refuses to respond. That was the 28th of June. And people were raising a shitstorm over on the subreddit as well. 1,000 upvotes. And people asking a CA representative to respond, which they never did. That was 3 weeks ago. Shogun 2 was very polished back in 2011. This update, less so. If they just left the game untouched, that would have been one thing, but they went out of their way to break mod support in chat. Shameful display. And we had TripleZHacker who covered this on the 25th of May, so the day after.
Chat features. They also mentioned that they're going to find ways to implement and support chats in our future projects properly. I don't understand why they mention updating their future projects without even considering updating the older titles with those chat features as well. It seems like Creative Assembly is keen on making their older titles lose replayability, even though Avatar Conquest is the best multiplayer experience out of all the Total War titles. It's just baffling that they're removing the chat systems, even though this game is still well received. This update did have some benefits, though. I saw some Discord screenshots from Shogun 2 modders indicating that the performance improvements were good. However,
if that's true,
they
that
failed
is
to
good.
test the bugs, and the problem is that the mod manager is no longer available, so the Steam Workshop is not going to work. However, if you revert back to the previous version of Shogun 2, you will be able to use your mods. Again, there still needs...
So that was possible for a while. You could revert back to the old version of the game and it would re-enable the mod manager. And I think that's what people did for about a month. So from about late May until late June, that was possible. And we had a petition as well that this drew attention to, because he pointed out also the in-game chat being ruined is a bad thing for these games. How many other AAA games are having to do this because of this UK law thing? Is it only Total War? I'm not hearing complaints from other fans of other games about their game chats just disappearing. It's really strange that this seems to just be isolated to Total War. I'm here in the UK, I play loads of games. I was playing Men of War Assault Squad 2 for the past year and a half, and there's an in-game chat. And by the way, I should say, Men of War Assault Squad 2 has so many wereaboos, actual fucking Nazi LARPers that love their SS, Fallschirmjäger, King Tigers. And you can imagine the kind of shit those people type in the chat on a daily basis, every day, day in, day out. And the chat has not been disabled for that game, and I'm here in the UK playing that, and I'm seeing the worst kind of shit in the chat for that game in 2023. And I don't expect the chat to be removed, but in Total War they're removing it. What is going on there? So we had TripleZHacker complaining, and then after this recent thing, that was a few days ago, Pilps, another Total War YouTuber that fixates on Shogun 2 especially, because Shogun 2 is a spectacular game, and with mods especially, you can really make it go far. He does a lot of videos that show how spectacular it can be, and he mods it, and it makes it even better. Well, they did it. Creative Assembly have updated Shogun 2 again to screw with it even more. Mods straight up do not work now. They're purposely trying to ruin their older titles, so fans of the older titles move to their newer ones. I called it, fuck you Total War. I echo that sentiment perfectly, exactly. Mod manager gone despite downgrade. My mod manager disappeared even though I downgraded the version. I can't find it in the files either. What do I do? Nothing. They ruined this game with purpose. They don't want us to play this anymore. There was no reason for this update, so it can only be this. And then he asked for people to comment on their most recent video. And I might go over this in a separate video. This is the Total War Pharaoh Tozric gameplay showcase. 77k views 2 days ago. I might go over that because there are some things in there that I can observe and comment on. I should sort this by most recent and find Pilps' comments. And I would encourage other people to complain about this and to go here and do the same thing, to just join in with what Pilps is already starting here. Likewise with the petition that TripleZHacker drew attention to. People should just sign all these petitions and complain everywhere about this. Well, I've recently updated Shogun 2 and practically made all mods unplayable. You even changed file names to mess with modders even more. Yeah, and this is a weird thing as well when they do this. I don't see any explanation forthcoming for all of these weird things that always happen with these games when they change them. Why are you on purposely messing with your older titles? Is it because you want fans of your games, of the ones that are actually good, wanting to flock to your bare bones new titles? Bring back multiplayer chat too from your other Purge update too. Yeah, we didn't forget about that one either. You tried to slip under the rug. This is extremely upsetting and only solidifies my distaste in you in recent years. Revert the changes, scumbags. Yep. And he got a lot of people to comment to echo what he was saying, which is absolutely deserved, I think. And as I said, I might go over that. And then Pilps pointed out they're working on a fix, but this shouldn't have happened. This game does not need an update. This drastically damaging from 2011. They still aren't bringing back multiplayer chat though from their previous Purge update. Either way, I'm still pissed off with them as a company. Yep, and that was because CA finally responded. CA responds to removal of Shogun 2 mod manager. King Gobble posted this on the Discord. There's a fix for the mod manager currently in the works. Testing's looking positive, so hopefully shouldn't be too much longer. And here it is in the Discord. The mod manager was not specifically removed on purpose. In order to see the mod manager, you need to have at least one mod installed. When the update was pushed out, something had removed it, but it wasn't caught as we don't use the modded version of the game, which is why they've been investigating what caused the removal so they can get it fixed and rolled back out. So this is good. They have to get this done quickly and get it rolled out and working and tested so it doesn't have any side effects like every patch that they do for their older games does. Because see, when they patch these games, it's not because they're trying to make the game better. It's not because they actually care about the quality of the game. It's presumably to comply with law or to do some other ulteriorly motivated bullshit. And that means that they're not going to have a tail-end follow-up to make sure that it all works properly, and they're not going to bug test it thoroughly to make sure it doesn't break the game. So whenever they touch these games, like, see, at this point, we should just be like, don't fucking touch these games, we're sick of it. We don't want any more updates, just leave it alone and stick to that, because it really does seem like at this point that they're just breaking their older games, their older, superior games that were actually made properly. And yep, on the subreddit, there's quite a lot. This is the shithole subreddit, by the way. There's a lot of people complaining. Fix Shogun 2 8 days ago. Please fix the broken mods of Shogun 2. CA is trying to kill Shogun 2 modern. Mod launcher not showing up on Shogun 2. Shogun 2 greater than Warhammer. Absolutely. Yep. And I should emphasise, see if they were to actually go back to this game and patch it in a way that would be productive, this is what they would do. I went over this in a previous video. I think it might have even been my 2021 video on the removal of the chat. That was what spurred me to make this. But just in case you're not familiar, I can go over this quickly. The completely unnecessary and game-breaking shit. Hattori Tokugawa Kisho Ninja stats are still bugged. We can't make single unit groups. When Yariballs shatter, the unit can bug out and stand on the spot, inflicting damage with its Yariball even though the unit is out of the fight. This can ruin battles, especially in multiplayer. And I can attest to that. That happened in my tournaments that I did. Paid tournaments. Prized tournaments that I hosted. And we would have this bug just happen. And we had to just deal with it. You had to just play the game knowing that this could happen. Some people would even, I think, make this bug happen on purpose, which there's nothing you can really do about. Right before the unit's about to break, put into Yarrow, and there's a chance this will happen, and the unit will be really hard to kill, especially in really messy fights. I think we would even have people kiting around broken Yarrow walls that have shattered, but are still in Yarrow wall, to try and bait the other person into getting caught on it. Firebomb throwers are functionally redundant due to Kisho Ninja having the same weapon with even greater ammo quantity, in addition to their own desirable properties. In short, firebomb throwers are fundamentally just a neutered Kisho Ninja unit. Yare Samurai or Ronin and Bulletproof Samurai don't have Spear Square, and Spear Square therefore accidentally does not feature in the game except with Yare Hero, which are almost never seen in a minuscule formless unit. Yeah, so if you're going to have a formation, it helps to at least have it be in a unit with a decent size so you can even see it. Fatigue is broken for infantry and movement speed and combat performance effect due to a mistake in the fatigue effects tables. This is really bad. This is a really bad mistake that just makes the game way worse, and a lot of people don't even notice it. How easy would it be for them to just have someone go back and flip a 0 to a -1, or flip a 0 to a 1, or whatever it is, because that's the nature, that's the kind of mistake that caused this. An error in how tables work. Artillery and Follow Samurai aim precisely for the very left end of the unit they're targeting rather than centre mass. It's easily possible to achieve infinite campaign movement with an exploit involving removing and adding units to stacks. Disconnecting from a multiplayer game while losing results in no penalty or consequences. This is so notorious that it's actually listed on the Wikipedia page under exploits and explicitly referenced as the example for lag and disconnection exploits. Lag and disconnection exploits. Yeah, look at that, it's been like that for like 2 years. Holy shit. The video game exploit Wikipedia article. I had nothing to do with this, by the way. Lag and disconnection exploits. A game with inadequate lag handling may let players intentionally cause lag for themselves to cause an advantage. Similarly, a game that lets a player disconnect immediately with no consequences may let players exit a game without suffering a loss. Shogun 2. Come on, CA, holy shit. And then I've got a list of other bugs. Alright, so today TripleZHacker made another video where he explains that there might even be a workaround for this latest patch.
Scripts folder in Shogun 2. Just follow this pathway right here. You need to then create a user script and copy the names of your mods from your data folder into the script, and then run Shogun 2.
This is the kind of shit you have to do now to get mods working. Unless CA does something about it. It's ridiculous. Almost no one is going to do this. Almost no one is
I
going
got
to even
this
know.
info from the
Almost no one is even going to know how to do this or be willing to do this. This will kill modding until they fix it.
Pilps Discord server by Shogun 2 modder named Orenzi, who is also on my server. So hopefully this scripts solution works for your mods. Again, if you have any further...
And I'm not sure if this actually works. I'm really not sure if this works. I keep seeing this back and forward yo-yo of we found a workaround and then people saying it didn't work. I think there's even people saying this doesn't work. It's such a mess. They've really ruined this. Alright, I got a clarification. So the workaround that was initially found was removed with a patch, a ninja patch, and then this script thing only works some of the time in special circumstances. It's really disheartening when you know that there's so many things that they actually have to do to fix the game, but instead they spend their time on all this garbage and just cause all of these scandals. Don't know how else to put them. It's like a patching scandal. CE is the only company I know that has these kinds of patching scandals. Only Total War has to deal with this. It's really just unnecessary. So I'll try and keep you posted on how this progresses. It seems like they're working on something and it'll be out soon. Don't know what's... Let's see what they actually say. Yep, so this was on the 30th of June, 9:48am. There's a fix for the mod manager currently in the works. Testing's looking positive, so it hopefully shouldn't be too much longer. And I really do not know what that means. We'll have to see. And I hope that this will just revert the damage and won't cause any further problems, because I am, as I've said, seeing a lot of people complaining about crashing that I didn't see before. Maybe that's down to the mods that they had installed, or vestigial files, or clashes. I really don't know. It seems like they've just created a mess that they really didn't need to. And I'll try and get to the bottom of this and maybe do a follow-up video. And likewise, I'm going to try and cover Pharaoh coming up. We know that they don't go back to old games and fix them out of habit. For example, they only improved the performance of Rome Total War, their best game, the crowning jewel of their entire franchise, when they remastered it so they could sell it at 700% markup. So they're not in the habit of just going back and fixing stuff and improving performance. So whenever they do something like this, you have to always be really suspicious. They don't do this out of the kindness of their heart. We know that from how they treat old games like Rome Total War. We know that from how they patch Shogun 2 and don't fix any of its actual problems. It's really hard to interpret this stuff charitably and positively, and not to just think that they are crippling and damaging their older games. I had that hypothesis in 2021. TripleZHacker made a video recently where he took the same tone and got some pushback, and with this latest patch, as of a few days ago or a week ago, it just looks worse and worse. See when they try and patch the game secretly and it just breaks the modding even more? They actually disabled the workaround of reverting to previous versions of the game. When stuff like that happens, it's really hard to think positively and not think that they're being nefarious, so we'll see. Follow-ups to come. If you're a fan of my work and want to show support, then I have a Patreon page. I do my best to reward perks, including monthly updates on what I've got planned. Thanks to all my patrons, with special thanks to Matteo Olivetti.